All right, let's jump into another deep dive today.
Sounds good.
We're going behind the scenes in the Indian hospitality market,
Okay.
and we're taking a look at the latest earnings call from IHCL.
All right.
You might know them better as the folks behind the iconic Taj Hotels.
Yeah.
That's the Indian Hotels Company Ltd.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a recording of their Q3 earnings call for fiscal year 2024-25.
Okay.
And we really want to understand what this all means for IHCL.
Right.
What does it mean for the future of this industry giant?
Yeah, should be interesting.
So we're going to uncover some record-breaking profits,
Oh.
ambitious expansion plans,
Okay.
and maybe even a few surprising anecdotes that'll reveal just how dynamic the Indian travel scene is right now.
So we're going to break this call down, get the key takeaways,
Yeah.
then try to figure out how they might shape not just IHCL's future, but the entire Indian travel and tourism sector.
Right.
So this is a great way to see what's working in this market
Yeah.
and also what challenges are ahead.
Well, the first headline here is that IHCL is celebrating its highest ever quarterly profit,
Oh, wow.
crossing the 1,000 crore mark for the very first time.
That's huge.
That's a significant jump.
It is. This is a really clear sign that the strategies are paying off.
Yeah.
What I think is most impressive is this isn't just a one-time spike.
Yeah.
They've seen 11 consecutive quarters of growth.
Yeah.
That consistency really says a lot about their ability to adapt
Right.
and thrive in a market that's constantly changing.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's not just about profits.
Right.
Their revenue grew by 29%,
Wow.
and their EBITDA margin, which essentially tells you how much profit they make from their operations,
Yes.
expanded by 80 basis points compared to last year.
Yeah.
But what does that really mean for someone who might not be familiar with the ins and outs of all this financial jargon?
It basically means they're becoming more efficient at turning their revenue into profit.
Okay.
They're keeping more of the money that they earn.
Right.
And that's crucial for any business.
Yeah.
But especially in a competitive industry like hospitality.
Right.
Sure.
So they're making more money
Mm-hmm.
and doing it more efficiently.
Yeah.
But what's driving all of this success?
Well, one major factor is the big surge in demand
Okay.
within the Indian hospitality market.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing a situation where demand is actually outpacing the available supply of hotel rooms.
Interesting.
People want to travel in India,
Yeah.
but there just aren't enough rooms to accommodate them all.
That sounds like a good problem to have.
It is if you're IHCL.
Yeah.
It really puts them in a strong position,
Right.
and they're making the most of it.
Yeah.
For example, their revenue per available room, or RevPAR, has grown by 13% in the domestic market.
Okay.
So this metric is essentially telling us how much money they're making for each available room.
Right.
And that 13% jump, that's big.
Yeah, that is significant.
It is.
And what's even more impressive
Mhm.
is that they're not just riding this wave of demand, right?
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
strategically positioning themselves at the top.
They are.
They're commanding a 78% RevPAR premium over the industry average in India.
Wow.
So even though demand is high across the board, people are choosing IHCL properties over the competition, and they're willing to pay a premium for that experience.
Yeah, what's their secret?
Yeah. What is it?
Part of it is that focus on the premium experiences
Okay.
and their strategic asset management. So they're not just offering you a place to sleep for the night.
Right.
They're curating experiences that really resonate with travelers who are seeking something special.
Yeah.
And they're doing it across a range of brands, from
Okay.
the luxury of Taj Hotels down to the lean luxe experience offered by Ginger.
So let's dig into that a bit more.
Sure.
How is IHCL responding to this incredible demand
Okay.
and making sure that they can actually accommodate all these eager travelers?
Well, they've got an aggressive expansion plan in motion.
Okay.
So in Q3 alone, they signed 20 new hotels,
Wow.
and they opened 8. So for the fiscal year so far, that brings them to 55 signings and 20 openings.
Those are some big numbers.
They are. And to give you an idea of the scale,
Yeah.
in the entire calendar year 2024, they signed a record-breaking 85 new hotels and opened 40,
Wow.
which brings their total portfolio to 360 hotels,
Wow.
with another 123 in the pipeline.
Yeah.
That's a footprint.
It definitely sounds like they are cementing their position as a leader in the Indian hospitality industry.
They are.
But all of this expansion must require, I imagine, significant capital investment.
You would think so, but IHCL is being very smart about how they grow.
Okay.
So they're committed to a strategy known as capital light growth.
Right.
Essentially, what they're doing is they're focusing on managing properties
Okay.
rather than outright owning them,
Right.
which lets them expand really quickly
Yeah.
and minimize their financial risk at the same time.
So they're finding ways to expand without breaking the bank.
Exactly.
How does that actually work in practice?
Well, in Q3 alone, their management fees, the money they earn from managing properties owned by other people,
Okay.
jumped by 32% to reach 177 crores.
So they're bringing in more revenue by managing these properties rather than owning the properties themselves.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there are a few reasons why this approach is so effective.
Yeah.
First, it allows them to expand much faster
Right.
than if they had to buy every property.
Yeah.
Second, it gives them access to a wider range of locations and properties.
That makes sense.
And finally, it lets them focus on what they do best, delivering those exceptional hospitality experiences.
So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah,
IHCL gets to expand rapidly, and they get to do it in a financially sustainable way.
that's right.
It's a pretty smart strategy, especially in a market with as much potential as India.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious, are they putting all their eggs in the traditional hotel basket,
That's a good question.
or are they exploring other avenues as well?
Yeah. You're right to wonder about that. IHCL isn't just sticking to what they know. They're also branching out into some new areas of the hospitality market.
Oh, interesting.
And that brings us to what they call their new businesses vertical.
Okay.
This is where things get really interesting.
Right.
This segment includes brands like Ginger, which we've already touched on,
Yeah.
Cumin, their food and beverage arm, Amma Stays and Trails, offering those unique stays in heritage bungalows,
Right.
and the recently acquired Tree of Life, another brand focused on experiential travel.
Okay.
And what's fascinating is that this whole vertical saw a 40% revenue growth in Q3.
Wow, that's huge.
It is.
That's a clear sign that IHCL is really in tune with what travelers want today.
Yeah.
People are looking for these unique, personalized experiences, and IHCL is delivering.
Absolutely they are.
Can you get us a little more insight into how these new ventures are performing?
Yeah, let's start with Ginger.
Okay.
Remember we talked about their lean luxe concept? Well, it's resonating with travelers. They achieved a 43% revenue growth in Q3.
Wow.
And just as importantly, they boosted their EBITDA margin by 200 basis points to 45%.
So they're not just attracting more guests, they're also becoming more profitable.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
That's impressive.
It is.
What about their other ventures? How are those doing?
Cumin, their food and beverage brand.
Okay.
They're making waves as well.
All right.
They've expanded beyond just hotel restaurants, and
Yeah.
now they've got over 60 outlets,
Wow.
including a presence in airport terminals.
Smart.
Yeah, and partnerships with retail chains like Westside.
Oh, interesting.
They're really leveraging their expertise to create a whole new revenue stream
Yeah.
and tap into a wider market.
And then there's Amma Stays and Trails,
Yes.
catering to that growing demand for experiential travel and unique accommodations.
Mm-hmm.
They had a pretty big milestone recently,
They did.
reaching 250 bungalows in their portfolio,
Yeah.
with 119 currently operational.
It seems like they're hitting the mark on all fronts
Yeah, it really does.
with these new businesses.
They're diversifying their offerings,
Mhm.
attracting new customers,
Yeah.
generating this impressive revenue growth.
Right.
But it can't all just be attributed to expansion and new ventures, right?
No, you're right.
What other factors are contributing to this success?
They're also really laser focused on operational efficiency
Okay.
and leveraging technology to enhance their business.
Mhm.
In fact, their hotel segment's operating EBITDA margin, that profit we were talking about,
Yeah.
expanded by 210 basis points to 39.4% in Q3.
So how are they achieving this?
Well, they've implemented a number of cost optimization measures.
Okay.
And they're really using technology to streamline their operations and boost productivity.
So for example.
Well, they launched these redesigned websites
Okay.
for Taj Hotels and Amma Stays and Trails, with plans to roll out similar upgrades for Ginger and Vivanta in the first half of fiscal year 2025-26.
So they're really thinking about that whole customer journey
Yes,
from the moment you start thinking about a trip to the moment you check out.
exactly.
Oh.
And they're using technology to make that experience as seamless and enjoyable as possible.
Makes sense.
They've also been upgrading their core systems.
Oh, okay.
They migrated to SAP for finance and HR functions,
Mm-hmm.
and they're adopting the industry-leading Opera Cloud property management system.
Wow.
So these investments in technology are going to streamline their operations and improve both customer and employee experiences.
It sounds like they're not just embracing technology, but really strategically thinking about how to use it to just enhance every single aspect of their business.
Yes.
But with all this focus on efficiency and technology, are they still prioritizing that human touch?
That's a great question.
That personalized service that we all expect in the hospitality industry.
Yeah, they haven't forgotten about the human element at all.
Okay.
IHCL understands that technology is a tool,
Right.
but it's the people who make the real difference.
Sure.
And that's where their commitment to talent development really comes in.
Okay.
So they're investing in industry-leading training programs and scholarships in partnership with global universities to nurture the next generation of hospitality professionals.
So they're making sure that they have a really skilled and passionate workforce ready to deliver those exceptional experiences.
Right.
But in today's world, it's not just about providing great service.
No.
It's about building those relationships
It is.
with your customers.
Yeah. How do they do that?
Yeah.
Well, that's where the Tata Neu loyalty program comes in.
Okay.
This program, a collaboration between IHCL and the larger Tata Group,
Right.
has reached an incredible 8 million members
Wow.
and is driving 40% of IHCL's enterprise-level revenue.
That's significant.
It is.
So they're tapping into that broader Tata ecosystem, and they're able to reward their customers in a way that goes beyond just those traditional hotel loyalty programs.
Exactly.
It's really smart.
It is.
So it seems like IHCL has a lot to celebrate. Yeah, they do. They're achieving impressive financial results, expanding their footprint,
Yeah.
diversifying their offerings, embracing technology,
Yes.
fostering customer loyalty.
For sure.
But of course, no business operates in a vacuum.
Right.
What about external factors?
Yeah, that's
What challenges are they facing in the current market?
one of the key challenges they talked about was the uneven recovery of international travel markets, while their properties in the U.S. are showing some signs of improvement.
Okay.
The London market remains a bit subdued.
What's causing that difference?
In London, they're seeing increased competition from all these new hotels that are entering the market.
Okay.
Meanwhile, in San Francisco,
Yeah.
lingering concerns about safety and security seem to be having an impact on travel demand,
Okay.
but they're still optimistic
Right.
about the long-term potential of both markets.
Okay.
And they highlighted the positive impact of some recent events.
Oh, like what?
Like the JP Morgan conference in San Francisco,
Okay.
which brought in a lot of business travelers,
Makes sense.
and the upcoming U.S. presidential inauguration, which is expected to boost demand in New York.
So it sounds like they're not shying away from these challenges,
No.
but they're taking a really strategic approach to managing them
Yeah.
and capitalizing on opportunities as they arise.
Yeah, exactly.
They're thinking long term.
Right.
They know these markets are going to rebound eventually.
Yeah.
But with all this uncertainty in the global economy,
Right.
how are they preparing for potential headwinds that could impact the whole industry?
That's the big question. They're focused on what they can control.
Okay.
So they're doubling down on cost optimization measures, diversifying their revenue streams,
Right.
and being super strategic about their investments.
So it's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
between growth and managing risk.
Exactly.
But beyond the financial side of things, is there anything else that they're doing to kind of weather potential storms?
One thing that stood out to me was their focus on asset-right growth.
Okay.
It basically means that they're not just expanding for the sake of it.
Right.
They're choosing their projects very carefully,
Okay.
looking at the return on investment. And then they're also thinking about which operating model makes the most sense.
Okay.
So whether that's ownership,
Yeah.
a management contract, or even a franchise agreement.
It really is a reminder that bigger isn't always better.
It's not.
It's about making those strategic choices that'll create long-term value and ensure sustainable growth.
Right.
And that brings us to something that I think is often overlooked in these conversations.
Oh, okay. What's that?
The people.
The people, right?
How is IHCL investing in its workforce?
Yeah. They know that their employees are their most valuable asset.
Okay.
They're investing a lot in attracting, developing, and
Yeah.
retaining top talent. They're proud of those industry-leading training programs,
Yeah.
their partnerships with those global universities, and just creating that culture of learning and development.
So it sounds like they're not just training people for the jobs they have now,
No.
but they're preparing them to be leaders in the future.
Exactly.
It seems like IHCL has a lot to teach other businesses
Yeah, they do.
about how to build a great company culture.
Mm-hmm.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to touch upon something that really struck me as we went through this earnings call.
Okay.
IHCL just seems to have this knack for tapping into the pulse of the Indian consumer.
They really do.
How are they doing that?
Well, it's clear that they have a deep understanding of the Indian market.
Okay.
You know, the cultural nuances and the preferences of Indian travelers.
Right.
And this insight is reflected in everything they do, from how they design their hotels to the experiences they create for their guests.
They get it.
They do.
For example, they understand how important family travel is in India.
Mm-hmm.
And they've created offerings that appeal to these multi-generational families.
Yeah.
They also recognize that more and more people want those unique travel experiences.
Right.
So they offer immersive experiences that showcase Indian culture and heritage.
Exactly.
And they're using technology to personalize those experiences.
Yes.
Gathering data on what guests prefer
Mm-hmm.
and using that to create tailored offers and recommendations.
Right.
It's not a one-size-fits-all approach anymore.
No, it's not.
It sounds like they're balancing tradition with innovation,
They are.
which is not easy.
Not at all.
So as we get to the end of our deep dive
Okay.
into this IHCL Q3 earnings call,
Yeah.
what are some of the key takeaways for our listeners today?
Well, I think we've seen a company that is really firing on all cylinders.
They are.
They're getting great financial results,
Mhm.
expanding strategically, innovating with their brands,
Yeah.
and really using technology to improve that customer experience.
But it goes beyond just the numbers.
Yes.
It does.
Just-
We've seen a company
Mhm.
that's committed to its people,
Yeah.
the environment,
Right.
and creating these authentic and meaningful experiences for guests.
They really get it.
It's a company that knows how to balance tradition and innovation,
Mm-hmm.
manage risk while going after growth,
Absolutely.
and build a business that's good for everyone involved.
Right.
Not just the shareholders,
Yeah.
but the employees,
Mhm.
the communities,
Mhm.
and the planet.
It's a great story
It really
of
is.
success and evolution.
Yeah.
You know, adapting to a changing world, but still staying true to their values.
There are a lot of good lessons here
Mm-hmm.
that apply to any business.
Yeah.
In any industry.
For sure.
Success requires more than just a great product or service.
It does.
You need to understand your customer,
Mm-hmm.
be committed to your employees,
Yeah.
and be willing to embrace change
Right.
and adapt to whatever's happening in the world.
Yeah, the world's changing fast.
It is.
So you got to be ready.
And maybe, most importantly, business can be a force for good.
Absolutely.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
It's been fun.
It has. We hope you enjoyed this look at IHTL and the Indian hospitality market.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Until next time, keep exploring.
And keep learning.
We'll see you then.